Evan lay on the soft, glowing bed inside the alien medical room. Blue light floated across the ceiling like slow waves. Strange machines hummed around him, making the air feel warm and heavy. He kept his eyes closed, breathing slow and deep, pretending to be asleep. He wasn't actually hurt. He wasn't resting. He was testing the two alien sisters who controlled this ship. Their names were Lyra and Sara, tall, silver-skinned twins with glowing violet eyes. They had saved him 2 days ago during a battle in deep space. Since then, they had been taking care of him, or at least that's what they said. But Evan wasn't sure if he trusted them. He heard rumors from other human soldiers. Alien twins from the Vega system. Perfect fighters. Perfect strategists. Hard to read. Impossible to understand. So Evan decided to do something stupid. Something only a human would do. He pretended to still be unconscious. Just to hear what they said about him. The door opened with a soft hiss. He recognized those light footsteps instantly. Lyra spoke first, her voice soft and calm. His vitals are stable. He is healing fast, for a human. Sara laughed lightly. Humans are strange. They look weak, but they keep surprising us. Evan kept his body completely still, but his heart began to race. He hoped the machines around him weren't loud enough to betray him. He heard Lyra step closer. He has been sleeping too long. Maybe we should test him. Test him? Evan felt every muscle tighten. Sora replied, not too hard. Humans break easily. Break? That word sent a cold shock through him. Evan forced himself not to move. He didn't want them to know he was awake, not yet. Lyra sighed. He fought bravely on the battlefield. He protected us even though he did not trust us. Sara spoke again, softer this time. We should test his loyalty. If he wants to stay on this ship, he must trust us. So that's what they meant. A test. Not to hurt him, but to see if he could be part of their team. Still, the idea scared him. Lyra walked closer. Evan could feel her presence near his face. I think he is pretending, she whispered. Evan's lungs froze. Did she know? Sara scoffed. No, he is not. Humans cannot pretend this well. Their emotions leak out. Like water. Evan mentally cursed. If only Sara knew how many times humans lie about naps and sleep. Lyra made a small sound, almost like a giggle. You are wrong, sister. Watch. Evan felt something poke his cheek. His soul left his body for a moment. But he stayed perfectly still. Sara gasped. You poked him. Why? Lyra spoke with an innocent tone. To see if he reacts. And also, he looks cute when he sleeps. Evan almost choked on his own breath. Cute? Him? If his eyes were open right now, they would be wide. If he wasn't pretending to sleep, he would have definitely turned bright red. He heard Sora sigh. You like humans too much. I like this human, Lyra corrected. Evan's ears burned even though he was trying to stay calm. He never imagined an alien warrior would say something like that about him. But the sisters weren't done. Lyra lowered her voice, but Evan could still hear her. Do you think he knows how much we talk about him? Sora shook her head. Humans sleep so heavy. They do not hear anything. And he is exhausted from battle. Yes, Lyra said slowly, but what if he is awake right now? Evan felt sweat forming on his forehead. Sora spoke again, sounding confident. If he was awake, his heart would be beating fast. Evan internally screamed. Her next words almost made him break character completely. He also snores loudly. Maybe he is stressed. Evan did not snore. At least, he hoped not. The sisters stood in silence for a moment. Then Sora spoke with a mix of worry and hope. Lyra, what if he does not want to stay with us after he wakes up? Lyra answered, then we must make him want to stay. How? We show him we are loyal to him. We show him we protect him. Humans value that. Sora hesitated. And if he still does not trust us? Lyra's voice softened. Then we let him go. Humans are free creatures. They do not belong in cages. Evan felt something change inside him. He had expected the sisters to be cold, emotionless, dangerous. Instead, they sounded honest, even gentle. He heard footsteps as the twins moved toward the door. Sora's voice came last. We should plan his test. Be careful. Don't scare him. Lyra chuckled. I scared him already, remember? I poked his cheek. You are ridiculous, Sora sighed. The door hissed open. Their steps faded. The room grew quiet again. Evan slowly opened one eye. Then the other. He let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. What did I just hear? He whispered to himself. The fact that the sisters wanted to test him still made him nervous. But the part that really made his face burn. Cute when he sleeps? Poked his cheek? Talks about him all the time? Evan covered his face with both hands. Oh no, this is bad, he muttered. He wasn't scared of the alien test anymore. He wasn't scared of the mission. He was scared because he was blushing harder than he ever had in his life. And the sisters didn't even know he was awake. Yet. As he slowly sat up on the glowing bed, Evan realized one thing. This day was about to get a lot more complicated. Evan carefully slid off the glowing bed. Every step made a soft hum from the floor beneath him. The medical room was empty now, but his heart was still pounding. He had heard everything. Every word. And he still couldn't believe it. Cute, poked his cheek, talks about me, he muttered under his breath, shaking his head. I am never pretending to sleep again. But curiosity gnawed at him. He had to know more about these alien sisters. Why did they care about him so much? What was this test they kept talking about? He glanced at the door. The corridor beyond was bathed in soft violet light. He slipped through, careful to make no sound. The hallway was alive with alien technology. Panels floated midair, symbols glowed on the walls, and strange energy pulses ran like rivers under the floor. He touched a panel, just a brush, and a hologram lit up. Maps, charts, and notes floated in the air. Evan's eyes widened. He recognized one thing immediately, the test file. It was titled Human Subject, Evan Loyalty Assessment. He leaned closer. His translator whirred softly. The words were simple, but their meaning stunned him. Human exhibits bravery under pressure. Subject shows independent thinking. Test, determine if human will trust alien caretakers voluntarily. Do not harm subject. Trust is key. Evan froze. Wait, what? They weren't planning to hurt me? A soft chuckle echoed behind him. He spun around and froze. Lyra and Sora stood at the end of the corridor, arms crossed. Their violet eyes glimmered, like twin moons in the dim light. You're awake, Lyra said, a teasing smile curling on her lips. You're not hiding very well, Sora added. Evan swallowed hard. I was, looking for the bathroom? Lyra's laugh was musical. Sure. Bathroom. Sora shook her head, smiling. You humans are always so obvious. Evan felt his face heat up again. He was caught. Completely. And yet, he was strangely relieved. Lyra stepped closer, tilting her head. Do you understand the test now? Evan blinked. You weren't going to hurt me? Sora's grin widened. Hurt you? Oh, no. The test was simple. Could you trust us without knowing everything? Evan ran a hand over his face. So, you talk about me all the time? Lyra smirked. Only when you're asleep. Evan groaned inwardly. Great. So now I know you think I'm cute, and I can't ever unhear that. Sora laughed softly. You're not the first human we've met. But you're different. Different how? Evan asked cautiously. Lyra stepped back, her tone serious now. You're brave, clever, stubborn, and loyal when it matters. Evan didn't know whether to be flattered or embarrassed. Mostly embarrassed. Before he could say anything, a sharp alarm blared. Red lights flashed across the corridor. Evan's stomach dropped. Hostile boarding party, Sora said immediately, eyes narrowing. They've found the ship. Evan's heart raced. Hostile aliens? Here? Lyra activated a shield generator that hummed to life around them. We need to protect the ship and you, she said, glancing at him. Evan's mind spun. Protect me? I thought I was the one testing you. Sora grabbed his arm. No time to explain. Move. Evan followed as the sisters led him through twisting corridors. Alien attackers poured in, shadowy figures moving with sharp claws and strange energy weapons. Lyra fired her twin plasma blades with deadly precision, each movement fluid, almost like a dance. Sora manipulated floating energy spheres that swirled around her, striking attackers instantly. Evan tried to keep up. He grabbed a weapon, an alien rifle that looked complicated, but instinctively he pointed it at the nearest enemy. The trigger felt alien, but somehow, it obeyed him. And then, it worked. A sudden burst of energy knocked two attackers back, leaving Evan stunned. Not bad for a human, Lyra said over the roar of battle. Better than we expected, Sora added. Evan's face flushed, not from embarrassment this time, but adrenaline. He felt alive. Needed. Part of something bigger. The battle raged. Evan realized the sisters weren't testing him anymore, they were trusting him. They believed he could handle the chaos. And for the first time, he believed in himself too. Finally, the last attackers fell. The corridor was silent except for their heavy breathing. Evan slumped against the wall, exhausted but triumphant. Lyra approached him, calm now. You did well, she said softly. Sora grinned. Not bad, for someone who pretended to sleep. Evan's ears burned. Do you ever stop talking about me? He asked weakly. Lyra laughed, but her eyes sparkled. Only when you're awake. Then it's your turn to impress us. Evan groaned and buried his face in his hands. He had survived the test, the battle, and the truth about the sisters. And somehow, he couldn't stop smiling. Because he realized something important, maybe the aliens weren't testing him at all. Maybe, they were testing themselves. To see if they could trust a human like him. And Evan, he was more than ready to prove he was worthy. Evan's heart pounded in his chest. The ship trembled as alarms blared. Red lights flashed violently across the corridors, reflecting off the smooth silver walls. Outside, he could see dark shapes moving fast, hostile alien attackers swarming the ship like predatory insects. Lyra and Sora stood at his side, calm, almost eerily so. Their glowing violet eyes scanned the chaos. Each sister wielded her weapon with perfect precision, Lyra with twin plasma blades, Sora with floating energy orbs that darted and struck in deadly arcs. Evan, gripping the alien rifle in his hands, felt the weight of responsibility press down. This isn't a test anymore, he thought. This is real. The first wave of enemies lunged toward them. Evan fired instinctively. The alien weapon hummed and clicked, reacting strangely, almost as if it recognized him. A beam of blue energy shot forward, striking one of the attackers and sending it crashing into the wall. Lyra's eyes widened in surprise. You adapted faster than we expected. Sora smirked. Humans are unpredictable. Evan felt a rush of confidence. He wasn't just following their lead anymore. He was thinking, improvising, fighting like a human should. He dodged an attacker lunging from above, rolling behind a metallic pillar. The sisters were covering him, but now he could see the point. They trusted him. They believed he could handle this. And he wasn't going to let them down. Evan noticed the ship's control panel blinking urgently. A large door at the end of the corridor was the attacker's target. If they broke through, the whole ship could be lost. Lyra noticed his glance. "You see the panel?" she asked. "Yes," Evan said, voice steady. "I think I can reroute the energy shields to block them." Sara raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure?" Evan grinned. "Not sure. But it's worth trying." He ran toward the panel, ducking and weaving past the attackers. Lyra and Sara continued to hold the line behind him, their weapons moving in a synchronized rhythm, almost like a deadly dance. Evan reached the panel and slammed his hands on the controls. Alien symbols blinked, lights shifted, and with a loud hum, a force field erupted, slamming into the attackers and stopping them in their tracks. Lyra clapped lightly. "Impressive." Sara added, "That was very human of you." Evan caught his breath, a small smile breaking through. For the first time, he felt like he belonged not just as a guest on this ship, but as a part of this team. The attackers regrouped, their claws clicking against the floor. They moved faster, smarter. But Evan had noticed something: their movements were predictable. The human mind, he realized, could anticipate patterns even in alien strategy. He whispered, almost to himself, "Let's see if they can handle this." He ran toward a low ceiling vent, climbed up, and peeked down. When the attackers followed, he dropped a series of makeshift traps, floating energy panels he had redirected, hitting them from above. Chaos erupted among the enemies. Lyra and Sara exchanged a glance. "Humans are chaotic geniuses," Lyra muttered. Sara laughed softly. "And incredibly annoying." Evan's red face burned, not from embarrassment, but adrenaline. "They're still talking about me while we fight," he realized, and a tiny part of him wanted to die from embarrassment. Finally, the last attacker fell. The ship shuddered, but the corridor was silent again. Evan leaned against a wall, breathing heavily, his hands trembling from exertion. Lyra stepped forward. "You did well." Sara grinned. "Not bad, for someone who pretended to sleep." Evan groaned. "Do you ever stop talking about me?" Lyra tilted her head, her violet eyes sparkling. "Only when you're awake. Then it's your turn to impress us." Evan buried his face in his hands. "I cannot survive this kind of teasing," he thought. Sara walked over and tapped him lightly on the shoulder. "But seriously," she said softly, "you earned our trust. Not everyone would act like you did. Humans, you surprise us." Evan peeked through his fingers. "Trust me? After everything I've done?" Lyra smiled warmly. "Yes. You risked yourself to protect the ship. That matters more than you realize." Evan's mind raced. For days, he had feared the sisters' tests, worried about every word he heard while pretending to sleep. Now, after fighting side by side with them, he realized something. They weren't testing him, they were learning to trust him. And in doing so, they had shown him something even more important. A human could be brave, clever, and even respected by beings far stronger and smarter than himself. Evan finally allowed himself to laugh, a breathless, shaky laugh, full of relief. Lyra smirked. "That laugh suits you." Sara added, "And your red face suits you even better." Evan groaned and buried his face again, his blush spreading from cheeks to ears. "I can't believe you're still talking about that." Lyra leaned closer. "You pretended to sleep to test us," she said. "But in the end, it seems we were the ones testing your heart." Evan froze, then slowly lifted his head. He met their glowing violet eyes. "Yes," he said softly. "And maybe." I passed. The sisters exchanged a glance and then laughed together. It wasn't a cold alien laugh, it was warm, melodic, and surprisingly human in feeling. For the first time in his life, Evan felt completely at home. He had pretended to sleep to test them. They had tested him in return. And somehow, in this strange, glowing ship far from Earth, amidst alien danger and chaos, Evan realized something. Humans weren't weak. Humans weren't small. Humans could survive. Humans could lead. And most importantly, humans could be trusted. Evan took a deep breath. He was ready for whatever came next. Because now, he wasn't just a human guest aboard an alien ship. He was a hero. And somehow, he knew the sisters were glad he was.